I'm in on Mookie Betts to win it, man. It was 17-1. It's down to 12 now. It's a tough road for him. He's going to see Vlad. It's not going to make it any easier. But this is a guy that's third in the majors in home runs with 26. Like, I think the odds are based more on the path as opposed to like who he is and what he's done. But this just has that feel of there's a lot of value in somebody at that spot that's third in the majors in home runs. He's got 26.
Yeah.
To get him at, like, again, it's 12-1 now. I would still jump on that. I got it at 17. But like that, there's enough there where it just makes me, like, the thing with the home run derby is there's always one or two guys that kind of comes out of nowhere. Because the seeding is stupid. It doesn't really matter. It's more of just what guys may be built for the home run derby, and some have a little more of that just big body power than others.
Yeah.
But I like Mookie. And maybe I'm just riding the train, and maybe I just like the value on it, but I'm all in on that. And then Luis Robert to advance along with J-Rod at plus 225. So both of them, BetMGM's got that at plus 225.
Yeah. The other thing, with the Derby, man, like the reason these guys want this so bad is some of these guys, they make more if they win the Derby than in like the entire season.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Was that Pete Alonso a couple years ago where he made more for winning the Derby than he did the entire season?
I mean,
the Mets.
Baseball players, it takes, 5-6 years to get a big contract, generally, unless you assign an extension early.
Unless you're, an early round pick.
Yeah.
Then you get money early on.
The team control, yeah, you're right. Then they start having, like, the millions that creep in. But some of these guys, man, it takes forever still. Is there any chance that the Angels are just stubborn enough to say, we're going to keep Shohei Ohtani the rest of the season, knowing it's going to cost $500 million to re-sign him, and he's not going to want to come back anyway? Because, I don't know if you saw this, he's talking about how much he wants to win, and it keeps getting stronger and stronger because he's playing for a team that doesn't win.
You saw how he reacted after playing that WBC. That last at bat against him and Mike Trout, that was the most electric 5 minutes of my life. It was 3 pitches and 3 fastballs. It's the best thing I've watched in my baseball life going on 36 years, man. Yeah, this guy wants to play for a winner, plain and simple. He's going to make $500 million no matter where he goes. So that really narrows the teams down to 3 teams that can afford him: the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Yankees. And I do think the San Francisco Giants might be a sneaky one in there as well. But it's going to come down to the trade deadline to answer your actual question, Nick. Are they stubborn enough? No. Is Artie Moreno stubborn enough? Yes, because Artie Moreno's a lunatic who simply just only wants to count dollar signs that are coming out in and out of his stadium. And if he's going to be going after the home run record that he's currently on pace for 57 home runs right now, despite only playing 80 games in the first half, listen, it's not out of the question that he keeps him. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid. I think it hamstrings the Angels for a decade to come. But at the end of the day, Artie Moreno knows nothing about baseball, and he proves it year in, year out. And when he makes the final decision, that's just an unfortunate thing. If it's someone's going to trade for him, I don't even know. The funny thing is, you ask around baseball, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be the greatest haul of all time. I agree, but no one has a clue what that means because we've never been in this position. We've never seen the best pitcher and best hitter in Major League Baseball being traded at the trade deadline, let alone them being the same person.
All right, so 2 quick questions there to follow up really quickly. So do you think that it would be the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, a big market team at the deadline, or do you think that maybe a team, I'm just going to throw like Baltimore out or Tampa Bay, like maybe like a middle of the market, smaller market team, maybe they would do it even knowing that they're not going to be able to re-sign them just as a rental to try to go all in for this year? Do you think that there's a chance that happens?
I do think there's a chance of one team. There's only one team that catches my ear when I hear that thought because I do not see the Rays doing it. The Rays, it's just not their MO to pilfer their entire minor league system all the time. In fact, they're usually the team that's on the other end of that. Just ask the San Diego Padres, who they've out-fleeced for like 14 prospects in the last 2 years. Who you actually should look at is that team I just mentioned, the San Diego Padres, because the San Diego Padres came into this season as a juggernaut, an all-star team. They should be leading the National League West by 10 games. Here they are right now in 4th place in this division. And quite frankly, if this team that owner spent this much money on does not make the playoffs, my God, everyone head in that front office has got to roll. So if I'm AJ Preller, who's already a lunatic and clearly shows that if it ain't bolted down to the ground, it is 100% for sale. He will give up anything just to save his job, to get AJ, just to get his hands on this guy for 2 months. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think no matter what, this guy's going to be a Los Angeles Dodger. But I could see AJ Preller doing something just insane enough to get this done at the trade deadline, knowing full well they won't re-sign him next year.
I know he just had wrist surgery, but do you think if you move Ohtani at the deadline, there's any chance that you move Trout? I don't know what the market would be for Rendon since he hasn't played more than 56 games the last 3 years, but I would expect, if you're trading Ohtani, why not just blow the whole thing up? You know what I mean? And try to go the Moneyball way and win in Los Angeles.
I absolutely would if I could. I'll tell you right now, Perry Minison is a very smart baseball guy. He's a very good GM, and the only thing that's hamstringing him is his general manager. But, yeah, dude, to answer your question, yeah, they should. And I do think the wrist injury is a little bit more of a little bit misleading, unfortunately. That's just what everyone's calling it. What it is a hammock bone injury. Unfortunately, hammock bone injuries happen very, very often. Unfortunately, it's like having an appendix in your hand. You don't need it. It just hurts when you break it. So once it's removed, it's never going to be an issue ever again for him. It's usually something that happens to a younger guy earlier on in his career. It's just a little bit of an outlier that it's happening to him now, which absolutely sucks. But God, who wouldn't take a chance on Mike Trout right now? There's about 10 teams in Major League Baseball that would 100% trade for his services coming back from surgery because he does plan to be back on the field before the season's over.
I mean, I would love to see Mike Trout, I don't know, in the playoffs for a change. That would be good. I think all of baseball could love that. Talking to Cody Decker, BetMGM tonight. I want to go back to the Padres real quick because, we talk about how bad they are, but it's hard to find an explanation as to why. They give up these big leads. You hear about the clubhouse. Everybody seems to hate each other right now, and this team is loaded with talent. We look at teams like the Rays and the Orioles and the Reds, all these very young teams that are talented, but they went the opposite route because they can't afford to pay for a team like the Padres have. What's wrong with the Padres? Why isn't it working?
I want to say I have the absolute definitive answer, but if you're hearing rumors about this clubhouse, then I got to look at the clubhouse. I got to look at the front office above it. I played for this team from 2009 to 2015. I was only there 1 year of the A.J. Preller administration, and it was a very interesting year. I got to say, that was a clubhouse of a bunch of baseball players who absolutely despised each other. I never played for a team that absolutely rooted against each other the way that 2015 San Diego Padres team did. It was really kind of mind-blowing to see. And now this is another A.J. Preller team that was a chock-full superstar team that he has constructed. This time, he doesn't have the excuse of saying, well, it was my first year. I was making a splash with all these trades. Dude, you've been there for nearly a decade. These are all your top prospects and all your top prospects you traded away to get this high-end talent, and now you have one of the highest payrolls in Major League Baseball history, not just in baseball right now. Quite frankly, you got to look to the top. You got to find out what the culture is. I thought that was the whole point of bringing in Bob Melvin. That's not even taking care of it. So, honest to God, you got to start looking at the head of the spear, and the head of the spear is A.J. Preller in that front office.
I always try not to overreact to anything that I see in Summer League. Just because, that's the hardest part about watching the product is all the fouls. I saw former NBA great Ron Harper tweeting about this as well. He's like, I can't even watch the Summer League because I don't want to watch 125 fouls called.
Right.
But, I try not to overreact, but, yeah, I don't know, because you watch it and he almost looks like he's a little bit too aggressive. I think he'll figure it out, but I think it's going to take him some time.
This is a time when guys go out and try things like Bilal Coulibaly, the Wizards pick, can't shoot, and he's just going out there taking shots that aren't maybe the best shots because it's Summer League. It's meant to be a situation where you're trying out things or you're getting used to and it's also not the real pace of an NBA game. You got a lot of guys taking a lot of threes, a lot of bad players that are trying to make a roster or just get some film out there, go out and make plays. Brandon Miller is a good defensive player in college. He can be a 3-and-D wing that can hopefully work on a few of the other issues that he's got to work on in terms of footwork and things like that. I don't overreact to anything in Summer League because everybody, after Victor Wembanyama's debut, my God, changed everything. So just calm down, pump the brakes. This is a chance for these kids to learn. They get into training camp. You got preseason. Got a long way to go. This is all the work that really should be going on behind the scenes that you don't judge.